My name is Dr. Verna Price, and I am the founder of a program called Girls Taking Action, and I'm also the author of a book called The Power of People, 4 Kinds of People Who Can Change Your Life. I'll tell you how we got to this conversation. In Girls Taking Action, we actually mentor and empower girls to be successful in school and life. And with our programs, we're in 14 different sites across the Twin City metro area, and also in Atlanta, also in Kenya, Africa, in Guatemala City, Guatemala, and also in Liberia. So in my conversations, when COVID-19, the pandemic hit here in Minnesota, of course, the governor issued an order that we were to stay at home, and also that schools were to transition from physical school to distance learning. When that happened, I gathered all of the women leaders and who work with our girls, and I said to them, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, 1, stay in touch with our girls. 2, when we call our girls, when we text our girls, I want you to ask them about 3 things. The first thing I want you to ask them about is their social, emotional, mental health. Secondly, I want you to ask them about their distance learning. How are you doing? I do not want our girls to lose any academic progress. Third, I wanted them to check on the physical needs of our girls. Do they need food? Some of them may need shelter. Do they need protection? Do they need resources? Do they need household items? What exactly physical needs do they need? So in these conversations, one of my women leaders called me and said, Dr. Verna, something is going on with our families. And many of our families, first of all, they have not ever done distance learning. Secondly, they are not prepared to do distance learning. And third, they're feeling very lost and they're losing hope. And we've got to do something about this. So as we had this conversation, we decided to create a television show that would be for parents, to help our parents, 1, understand the power of your parenting, 2, give you strategies and tips for how to effectively do distance learning with your child or children, and 3, help you figure out how to connect with the systems that your child is connected to. Your children are connected to systems. How do you connect to those systems to ensure that your child is, 1, staying healthy and whole, and 2, continuing with their education? So that is how this series came into being, was really a response on my part and on the part of our women leaders, our community leaders, to do something and to get our voice into the community, to teach our community, our parents, how to deal with these matters. So first I wanted to start with the power of parenting. Now, sometimes, every once in a while, we as parents can get intimidated by the fact that we're not quote unquote teachers. And during distance learning, here's the reality, is that you are and always have been the first teacher of your child. Your child learned to walk from you. Your child learned to talk from you. Your child learned how to eat with a fork or a spoon, or how to conduct themselves from you. You are the first teacher of your child. So what I want you to understand is that you have power as parents, and use that power and stand in that power. You know, one of the things that I teach people in my first book, The Power of People, 4 Kinds of People Who Can Change Your Life, is that you were born with power and that you can use that power in one of 4 ways. You can be an adder, a subtractor, a multiplier, or a divider. And you've got to use the power of parenting to be an adder and a multiplier to your children. Let me tell you something, parents. Your children are depending on you. They may not be able to depend on their teachers anymore, or the academic advisors, or the counselors, or the principals. But you know what? Your children must be able to depend on you. In this pandemic, they must be able to look to you, their first teacher, and they must be able to know that all is well. In the middle of this pandemic, our children need to know that they're safe, that there's hope, that there is someone who has eyes on them, who is caring about them, who is taking care of them. Even your teenagers who, often when our children become teenagers, and I am speaking from personal experience, I have 4 children. And at this very moment, as I am working with you and doing this video for you parents, I am distance learning with 3 children. And 2 of them are seniors in high school, teenagers. And sometimes when your teenagers want to get an attitude, and you know what an attitude is, where they want to try to act up and get a behavior issue with you, right? Sometimes it's easier to say, you know what, you just stay over there with your attitude. But here's the reality. Even your teenagers who are getting an attitude with you sometimes, here's what they're really saying. They're saying, please, do not give up on me. Please, pay attention to me. Please, make sure that I am doing well. Make sure that I am healthy and whole and doing well. Your power as a parent matters. You have the power to set expectations in your home. We have gone from a society who was so busy. We were going here, we were going there, we were doing this and we were doing that. And all in one swoop, we have come home. We have had to stay home. We've had to be home 24 hours a day with our children. And with this coming to a screeching halt, here's what you may have found out, like I did, that we were really not spending a lot of time together with our children. What we were doing was moving our children from place to place, but not really spending as much quality time as we should have. And this stay at home has given us full quality time with our children. So one of the things as a power of a parent, you must set expectations for your children. When we received the order from the governor, we set our children down and we said, here's the expectation. Every morning when you get up, you will get up on time as if you're going to school. No, you do not have to get up at 7:30 in the morning, but you will be up by 9 a.m. in the morning. Secondly, every day when you get up, you will get up and get yourself cleaned up. You will get dressed and you will prepare as if you were going to school. You will comb your hair. You will put on clean clothes. You will take a shower. You will wear deodorant. You will take care of your hygiene, and you will act as though you are going to school. The third expectation is that every morning when you wake up, after you've gotten yourself together, you'll have some breakfast, and then you are going to get to your schoolwork. Now, what we did was we said to our children, you all will have a specific place in the home where you are to study. And we expect that you're going to use your space as your space, and you're going to stay out of each other's space, and you're going to allow each other to do their learning. These are expectations. The other expectation we put on was an expectation of food. We said to our children, we're home 24 hours a day. That means that the easiest thing for you to do is to run in and out of the kitchen and get things out of the refrigerator and eat all day. And that is not what we're going to do. We are going to have breakfast as a family. Then you are going to do your schoolwork. Then we are going to have lunch. Then you're going to do your schoolwork. Then we're going to have dinner. In other words, we set the expectation with our children that you will not run in and out of the refrigerator all day in the kitchen. That will not happen. Why am I saying this to you, parents? Go back to your children and set the expectation of here is what is going to happen in our home. Here is how it's going to work in our home. Now, some of you may say, well, Dr. Verna, shouldn't we give our children some voice? Absolutely. Have the conversation with your children. Sit them down. Talk about what's going to happen in the home, how things should happen in the home, what your expectations for them will be. And here's the key with children. You know, I am a trained teacher. I've been teaching all of my life. And the thing that you must know about children is that children always meet your expectations. So if your expectations are high, they will meet them. And if you treat them as though they can meet them, they will. If your expectations are low, guess what? Your children will meet whatever expectations you allow them. If you are allowing your children to sleep all day long, guess what will happen? They will sleep all day long, they will miss out on meetings with their teachers, and they will end up failing in their classes. Why? Your expectation is low. But if you set your expectations, parents, as every morning you will be up at a certain time, and you will be prepared, and you will have a full day of school, guess what your children are going to do? They're going to do exactly what your expectations are. Parents, you are powerful. You are adding to your children. Now, this is going to be very, very hard for some of us, because it is easier for us to say negative things to our children than it is for us to say positive things to our children. And I challenge you, I encourage you, I just motivate you, parents, right now, to, as much as is possible, find positive things to say about your children all day long. Now, you may say, Dr. Verna, that's not possible. Yes, it is. I have 4 children, like I said. One of my children, he is in special education. Now, what that's meant for me is that with a child with special needs, is that I have 0 space and time that I cannot be with him. So anytime we're learning, I literally have to be right next to him to guide him through every piece of learning that he is doing. Now, that takes a tremendous amount of patience, but I have learned in the process, working with my son, that every small piece of positive encouragement helps. Now, that's with a child with special needs. My other children, who don't necessarily have special needs as we know it in special education, I found that they need just as much encouragement. So I have to be careful as a parent that I am balancing out that encouragement, not just for the child who really needs it, but for all of my children. Every child needs to be positively supported. That means that they receive positive words, they receive encouraging words that they know without a shadow of a doubt. They are confident that if nobody else believes in them, that their parents believe in them. Now, you may say, you know, Dr. Verna, I'm not the blood parents of my children. You're the parent. If that child is in your care and you are their guardian and you are the one they are looking to take care of them, to love them, to provide for them, you are their parent. And I want you to fully embrace the power of your parenthood with your children. Now, our next session that we're going to talk about is really going to be about how strategies you could use to do distance learning. And those things are very, very specific. Everything from working online with your children to creating a structure for the day to checking in with your child's teacher and all of the above. Because here's what I want, parents. These are not easy times. I get it. I'm living through it. I'm with my own family, my own children. Like I said, I have 3 children at home that I'm distance learning. 2 of them are seniors, one of them who's in special education. So I get it. So I'm not asking you parents to do something that I am not doing. You can do this. Now, you might say, Dr. Verna, I have given so much leeway to my children. How can I pull them back? It's very easy, parents. It's very easy. It's called consistency. When you bring your family back into order, when you sit your children down, when you say to them, here are my expectations, and here is how our home is going to run, and here's what I expect of you, and encourage them, let me tell you, here's the truth. Your children have been wanting you to put your foot down and or to get more expectations, higher expectations for them for a long time. The truth is that children know how much you love them by how much you are willing to give them what constructive boundaries. Now, I'm not talking about nailing your child down and crazy stuff. No, I am talking about giving them enough boundaries that they know this specific thing. I love you too much for this to happen to you. As a result, I'm giving you this expectation. I love you too much to have you go and do this. As a result, I'm giving you expectations. Now, here's something that is happening that I'm finding quite a bit in our homes, is that particularly with our teenagers, they have telephones, they have laptops, they have iPads, they have all of this technology. And here's what I need you parents to do. A part of your expectation is to make sure you check the technology of your children. We are living in an age where there's so many places for messages to come through to your child. And these may be messages that totally contradict your home values, your expectations, your boundaries for your children. And you must know what your children are listening to and what they are watching. And I encourage you to take a minute, sit down with your child, particularly your teenager, and scroll through their telephone with them, scroll through their iPads with them to see what they have been watching, and to give them expectations about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable according to your family values. So I want you to be careful about those things too, because here's why. Your children are waiting for you to give them consistent high expectations, to give them boundaries that will keep them safe, because here's what we know. Children know how much we care by how many expectations we have for them, by the boundaries we have for them, and how consistently we keep them and help them stick with those expectations and boundaries. I know you love your children, and here's the truth. Your children love you too. However, there is work that you've got to do to use your power as a parent. I want you to just say this to yourself every day when you wake up. And if you're like me, I wake up before my children to get ready for the day, to get my home ready for the day. And every morning when you wake up, I encourage you to say this very simple statement. And I learned and have put this statement into my writing. And the statement is very simple. When I was born with power. I am a powerful parent who has everything that I need to raise my children, to educate my children, to love my children, and to help them secure a positive future, because I am a powerful parent. That's who you are. I look forward to talking to you soon, and I'll see you on the next episode.